This is kind of a medallion, kind of like what you did before. Finished piece. There's the flat graphic. And it's just a simple TCB, taking care of business is what that represents. Here's just a Helvetica bold section on here. I'm trying to getting the letter set. And that's going to give the setup for the rest of the letter, so you can just option and drag over the letter, double click on it, and change the letter to T to the C and the T to the B. And then take the pen tool just to make this lightning bolt. Clicking down, option and shift key that down there. So just kind of making this outer edge, not too hard. And that gives you that piece. Just setting a copy over there in case you need it again. And just taking the shift key with the eyedrop tool to fill it with that gold color that's on the image there. And see if this will fill that piece out. It gets a little tricky because they changed the keystroke. So you have to hold the shift key with the command key to select the letter and then just pop it on there. That'll give you all the colors that you need. And the registration mark, option R, just to place it on there for future. And see if that's going to change the color back. There we go. And if you select all these images, you can put a group them together, and then in the appearance panel, or just in the style under the effects, just put a drop shadow and scroll this through the 100%, and just kind of use the scroller bar mouse to move those across, just to give you the idea of how this is brought in there. Just showing a drop shadow, if it's going to be in Photoshop, or sorry, Illustrator. We'll put it in later. So just put a copy over to the side here, in case you need to change it. Here we'll take the shadow off, and take the pen tool. I'm just going to make a shape that fills up the inside of this letter. Just give it a... You could probably get away with doing it without this, but this is a quick way. Select all of it, use the Pathfinder just to make one shape, and then selecting this, get the outline so you can use the offset path and just scroll this out to try to get the bottom part of this medallion. And click OK and just remove the interior of it. There's the color for it. Now you kind of have this outer piece just by using everything that's there, kind of duplicating it. And you can look at some of the different styles to try to create a drop shadow, or even it would take a little bit more to build that part up. But there's the base of it. Put a little ring up here, so that's just the ellipse tool making a circle, thicken the stroke, outlining the path on that section, and then selecting the both with the Pathfinder again to put that little loop up there. Put this graphic on top, object, arrange it, bring it to front, and there you have that piece, just kind of showing you that it's a separate texture in the background for that section. You can do some of the different gradients just to modify it, but ultimately we'll just take a copy and paste it into Photoshop, and so you have a path, and using the path selection to change this a little bit, round that piece off, extend it, and just kind of give it, before it was a point, now you're just using it as a selection point. Brings that part up, and changing the gold color. So you have the logo on top, and the background, there's the Illustrator reference, just to show to you. And then you have two colors, and now you can start to enhance the bevel and emboss with a gold impression of that. So changing it to a chisel hard, change the size and the softness just slightly, and a little bit of a drop shadow you can move interactively right here. Change the opacity, the softness, and the distance. Click OK, and now you have the lettering. give that a drop shadow, tighten it up just a little bit, and move the shadow onto the other side. So it had a drop shadow in Illustrator. This gives you a bevel and emboss and a drop shadow. Makes it a little easier. And here's the registration mark. That's on its own layer. Just scale it, put it into the size that goes, and option the effects, and it'll pop it right in there. Take off the drop shadow, and do the inner bevel. Just flip it, and change the up to down for the direction. That'll give you a little bit of a feel that it's kind of embossed in there. And that gives you this kind of a medallion, kind of like what we did before. A little set on the outside edge just to see if it gives it a little twist in the metal. Changing the contour and the opacity, just a slight change. It doesn't have to stay there, but just to look for it. So that's the Photoshop image to it. There you go. Kind of. And you can even put a stroke on the outside is what this will be. So down here, so it's inside or outside. Change the thickness of it just a little bit. And change the color of it. And a little bit of the opacity. But all that stuff you can take a look and see what you think as you're working with it. I'm just doing it as a demonstration for it. And there you have it. Just do a screenshot of it. That's the copy of it.